Hi everybody, it's Irene with BrainStormAcres. And this morning I need to talk about something really important. Now every morning I have a regular routine. Oh, it varies a little bit. We're not glued to a clock the way we would be if we had to be at a specific job at a specific time or commute or something like that. But we have a routine. That routine includes changing the water in the bird baths, watering the peas outside, watering the peas in the greenhouse, and it also includes checking the seedlings that I'm trying to start in the great room. Now, if you've been paying attention, you will have seen this lovely beat to heck card table. I can't even tell you when I bought it, probably 30 years ago. But it makes a great place to start small quantities of seedlings. And right now it's just a little bit too cold. Temperature unstable is the way I would put it in the greenhouse. Last night it got down to about 28 degrees outside. Doesn't seem to have gotten down below freezing in the greenhouse. But everything in the greenhouse right now is pretty sturdy, so I'm not worried about that. But I wanted to start my first batch of tomatoes and peppers, so the other day I did a video about it. And I very carefully used my little popsicle sticks to label each one of the seedling types. Now I've used those popsicle sticks before. I used them extensively last year because I grew like 9 zillion flower plants, and I simply didn't have enough of my cheapy little plastic ones. Now, by cheapy little plastic ones, I mean these little guys here. I can get these, I don't know, I want to say $5 or $6, something like that, for 200 or 300 at the hydroponic store. But I haven't been to the hydroponic store lately. It's over an hour drive, and we're trying not to do things like that. So I could get them online. I also bought some big ones from Haas Tools this year, but they're a big stick, and they'll be awesome when I'm planting up big stuff. But right now, I just decided I'd use some of my old stuff. So I have like gazillions of popsicle sticks. Let me get the package. Yeah, see, this is just one of the little packs. This package originally was $1.99. and it had 150 pieces. And gosh only knows how old this is. I can't imagine, but you'll be glad to know it even back whenever this was, because it's from when my kids were little. It was made in China even then. This morning, same as always, I checked my seedlings, and yesterday there was nothing up. And I sprayed everybody with water to make sure that they were still moist enough, and then I covered it back up. I've got a dome that goes on here to maintain the moisture. Well, this morning I was extremely excited to see that I had a bunch of tomatoes up. I have a total of 7 tomatoes up right now. And I was like, yes, very cool. So, and actually I can see there's a couple more in here that I missed. Okay, well, I'll have to write those down too. But I always look over carefully to make sure there's no mold growing, no funky spots that are a little too dry, anything like that. And I was horrified to discover that almost every single one of those popsicle sticks was growing mold. Now, it wasn't even the same kind of mold. It was at least 2 different kinds that I could detect with the naked eye. There was a couple that had this fine white, looked like cotton candy on over with the little black, fruiting bodies on it. And then there were a couple of others that had a whole stack of them that had the green mold on them. And I'm like, okay, that's got to go, because I am going to be keeping this dome on until these guys are up a little bit higher. So I immediately started carefully trading them out. I went through all my old labels. I have a bunch of these old crummy labels, and some of them I was able to find some actual ones that were already labeled with some of these varieties. And some of them that are varieties that I wasn't going to grow this year, I simply crossed them out, marked them with the garden marker, and changed out everything. So now we have all plastic labels, which I know don't grow fuzz, and I will be watching this to make sure that I don't have any other problems going on, but I was not amused at all. This is exactly the reason I tell people to pay attention to their seedlings. If at any time of the plant's life it's important to pay attention, it's when they're first getting started. It's so easy if you've gotten contaminated soil, or in this case, contaminated popsicle sticks. It just never occurred to me. I actually looked at some of the popsicle sticks in the greenhouse. Now, they were crummy looking, but they had been used all season last year. So that means they had soaked up wood. They had those water stains on them and stuff like that. They had dirt stains on them, but none of them had gotten fuzzy. So whether this was a different batch of popsicle sticks, because there were several bags, and they all just got mixed together, or whether it's just that under the dome you have such a concentrated humidity that anything that's there is just going to grow like crazy. Anyway, lesson learned. I do have some big sticks, and by the way, I've washed my hands like 10 times in between here because I don't want to spread the mold to anything else. I do have some very nice brand new sticks from Haas Tools, but they're the giant ones. And I just didn't want to use those on something this small because if I put them in here, the domes won't fit on them. Actually, the tall dome probably does, but the short domes don't fit on them. So I was holding those for later. My conclusion is I have two choices. I can either go look for some more plastic ones, and to be honest, I'm not going anywhere right now. So I have a choice of going online. I have looked through my own stuff to see if I might have some stashed, and I think I really kind of used them up last year. That's my recollection. Was they disintegrate from the UV around here. They're good for sometimes a season, maybe 2 if you're really lucky. But at some point when you're using them, you'll go to stick it in like that and it will shatter into 1,000,000 pieces. So I hate to use the plastic because, well, I'm trying to be more, ecologically thoughtful about things. So I prefer to use something like the wood, which when I decide it's too crunchy, it can just go in the burn barrel or into the compost pile, depending on what I'm working with. But I cannot allow mold in my seedlings because that would be a great way to knock out the whole batch of them all in one fell swoop. So I don't want to be an alarmist, but pay attention to what you're using as markers. Trying to think if I've experimented with anything else. Actually, I have in the past, when I ran out of the plastic markers like this, I have actually cut up things like milk cartons and water jugs and written on them. The garden markers, this one is from Johnny's, and these from Haas Tools actually come with garden markers, are some sort of a special ink formulation. The regular Sharpies will fade over the course of the summer, and sometimes I have had them fade, if they were in bright light here, within a month or two, which means sometimes your carefully labeled seedlings, you actually don't know what the heck is on there, which is not funny. Graphite, which is just pencil lead, if you can make it right on whatever your thing is, will not fade. So that's another solution if you don't have a special marker. But yeah, I'm going to be paying attention. I may see if I have any milk cartons that haven't gone to the dump yet or to the burn barrel. So I will check. I might have a couple of milk cartons that I could cut up. I'd forgotten about that concept. You can cut up yogurt containers, milk cartons, water jugs, anything like that. Some of them write on pretty well, some of them don't write on very well at all. Just a warning, think about it, be careful. Sanitation is important when you're starting seeds. We're not talking, lab sanitation where as if you were doing mushroom spawn. That's a whole different thing. But wash your hands. If you're a smoker, wash your hands before you play with your seeds, before you play with your plants. There are diseases that are carried by tobacco that can be transferred. Have a great day. Be safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.